All right.
I'm sorry, Alex. Do you mind if I back up and ask you? Hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm recording. Okay. So, Alex, can you explain once more? We're recording now.
Mm-hmm.
Why you recommend Node.js as opposed to um, uh, Flask Python to drive our backend?
Yeah. All right. So again, the first uh, advantage that Node has is speed. So Python's strength is more in CPU intensive tasks, whereas Node is going to be faster for what we're doing, which is just querying a database and building a data structure to send back based on what's in there.
Yep.
Um, Also, a nice bonus, Node is JavaScript, so it's the same language as our front end, and you only need programmers who can code in one language to work on both the front and the back end.
Excellent.
And also, that makes it easier for people who are only working on the front end to understand what's happening in the back end,
Yep.
and vice versa. So it's easy
Excellent.
to code one for the other.
Perfect.
Um, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for that summary. Is this Julian? Hold on a second.
Hello, how's it
Hi,
going?
Julian. Welcome. Say hello to Alex.
How's it going, Alex?
How you doing, Julian?
If you'd like to share your screen and give a quick update to Julian and I on the details behind that big picture that you just painted.
All right.
May I just add for the recording purposes, because I want to send this to Steve. Our big picture goal is to develop Invention Universe for 150,000 members. And that might mean that, I don't know, maybe 10% of those members are on simultaneously, which might mean that we need to design this application so it could handle 15,000 simultaneous users. Is that, Julian, is that consistent with what we were talking about last summer?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. Is it reasonable assumption 15% of people who have access to an application might be using it simultaneously?
Yeah, probably more at the beginning.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry to interrupt, Alex. If you could give, this is going to go over my head, but give Julian an insight into what you're thinking.
All right. Yeah. So I figured the easiest way to show what I'm thinking here is I mocked up a little back end and a little front end to go with it. So here is my back end. It's pretty simple layout, pretty similar to the old layout actually. So you define your schema here. You write there's something to connect that schema to the database. Actually, that's in here. And then you just write resolvers for the different queries you can run. And then there's one thing that, regardless of what we use for our backend, I saw we were saving the login token in local storage, which is accessible from by like cross-site scripts and from Chrome extensions. So someone could steal the key and impersonate a user. So this one, I did authentication just with a HTTP only cookie. Which, yeah, that's something I think we should move to the other side regardless. So yeah, it's got a little authentication, little course check. And then we come over here, here's a little back end or front end that I wrote to go with it. Let's see, got all the signing in and stuff. Does fully support all that if we just
cool.
if we sign up, it'll bring us in here.
Wow.
Okay.
And then if we come over and check database, got user just added, password hash, currency, logins, all that. And so performance-wise, what this is running on is the main dependency is something called Apollo, which I have open right here actually. Apollo uses something called GraphQL, which is different than a regular REST API, which is what the other server is, where you have URLs that you go to, like the URL of the server / galaxies with an ID, and it sends you that whole object back. What this does is you send a query that looks like this. That's not a good one. It's a very simple one. There, like here. So you want to get the currently logged in user and you want their username, ID, and currency. So you send something like that and it only sends back exactly what you need, which reduces the size of the response a lot. And you don't end up loading information you're not going to use, which runs faster. What it also does is if we come here to the this, we have this page with the where we're loading a galaxy and all the systems in that galaxy. You have to make a call to the backend to load galaxy with ID 1. And then you have to make another call for every system to load the planets in that system that can't start until the galaxy call has already come back. So again, that's just performance thing. That's more on the client side than on the server side, but it does also result in fewer requests.
Okay. Very interesting. So, Julian, I think I remember Jesus and Steve saying we chose Flask backend for there were reasons for that. Do you remember why Jesus recommended using Flask Python? But I remember they were talking about Node.js, but it was dismissed.
I can't particularly speak for them. I was the one who kind of like started working in Flask, and I don't know if they kind of picked it up afterwards once I already like worked on like half of it or something.
I see.
At least with Flask, I was working with SQLite. I don't know if that's still used here or something else. But generally the idea with it is, at least with Flask, because it's written in Python and stuff, it's like pretty clear and generally easy to just kind of copy paste things if you want to add something else. In addition, it has a kind of cool like abstraction thing where you don't have to worry about SQL tables and stuff. You can just have your own, just basically have your like own classes and treat it like a normal program and just work with that. I don't know to what extent that stuff is in Node.js. I mean, by the looks of it, it looks good, and if it passes like benchmark stuff and it ends up being faster, then that's even better.
Yeah, so it's a similar thing. It's also SQLite 3.
Okay.
And to interface with it, you just come here. I believe I saw something similar in, where you just define a like an object that says what elements each table has, and then you can just use that like an object to find things in the tables.
Okay, then yeah, I don't see anything too different here from Flask.
Yeah, and then so I was doing some research when I saw that into so this is just something I found. So a guy did benchmarks, just a simple server written in these different things. It's Django instead of Flask, but they're pretty similar. Django's a little heavier, but
Yeah,
just in
yeah.
terms of this is a very similar, case to what we're doing, where they have a database. It's users and countries, and you find everybody who's visited France, and then what other countries they visited.
Mhm.
And then Node is just handling a lot more requests per second
Mhm.
versus the other frameworks.
Very interesting.
No, yeah. Looking at it now, especially because it's the same language as the rest of the project, I'm very on board with shifting over to Node.
Great. Great, Julian.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. So may I ask, what's the effort involved, the man hours involved in rewriting the Python in JavaScript? Is it a 10-hour project, 40-hour project, 100-hour project?
On the lower end, it's actually. So what I have here does actually a fair bit of what the other one does already. It just has smaller tables. So I would need to add a few more things to the user here to track which planets belong to what user and all that. And I didn't really implement anything at the planet level, just because I wasn't going to pour time into this if it was not going to come to anything. But
we're looking at another, you put 10 hours into this, 20 hours into this already, and another, how many hours do you think to get to the same point that we are with Flask?
Yeah, so I'm about 10 hours into this backend here, and probably about 10 to 20 hours to be at exactly the backend we need. So fully functional.
Okay.
And that's probably, I'd say probably closer to 10. So a lot of it is just, so basically to extend it, you just have to add the model here for the database, say what you want to be able to pull here, and then write how to do it here, which is just a couple lines per request you want to make. So,
cool. Okay. I'm going to run this by Steve also, but Julie and I registering that you're on board for moving to Node.
Yeah, it's fine. I actually picked up Node the last few months, so yeah, I think it works just fine.
Great, great. Anything else, Alex, while we have Julian, that next steps involve the back end, and on the front end, work on the planet navigation front end. Is that, those are the next steps?
Those are our two things now. Are get this all the way up, and then start building the planet navigation on the other side.
Okay. And you're able to continue putting roughly 5 hours a week into this?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So, Julian, I thank you for joining.
No problem.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about some other things, particularly graphics. But Julian, I'm really eager to keep you involved with this project as much as you want to be and are able to be. So maybe we can have a lunch sometime and talk about what's going on this summer and what you'd most like to do?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm also gonna take at some point next week. I'll make that video that you requested for the
Oh,
investors.
would you do that? That would be great. Just
Yeah.
don't spend more than 15 minutes. And Alex, that video is for a new potential distribution partner. If you have a chance to just say, hi, I'm Alex, I'm studying computer science at Cornell. My favorite thing is blah, blah, blah. End of story on your cell phone with a Cornell icon in the background.
Yeah, I'll take care of that this week. I did see that email.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Julian. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Alex, if you can stay on, I'd like to just talk a little bit more, but this is looking great.
All right. Yeah. I think that's all I've got. Oh, there is. I forgot. There's one other advantage to this approach. It automatically caches everything on the front end. So if we come here, we can look what's in the cache. So if I go back to this level, it doesn't actually ask the server what galaxies or what systems are in the Milky Way here.
Oh, that's actually pretty significant.
Yeah, so it has that in memory already, and it just pulls it from there. So what it does is we go to my front end here. This is pretty easy to move to the other side, or to the other version, by the way. I just didn't want to change big chunks of code until I was sure it was going to stick. But if we come to root here, so it has an in-memory cache that's made every time the page loads for the first time, and it's going to automatically, every time it makes a query, store the results in there, and then every time it's trying to make another query, it'll check the cache first before it sends the request to the backend.
Fantastic performance advantage, no?
Yeah, and so then I suppose local storage would do a similar thing, but then for authentication, using a cookie here instead of local storage does. So right now I have it set so once you log in, you stay logged in for 5 days from the last time you logged in. And then, so if you were to close the page and reopen it, you would still be logged in, which I just think is a nice feature that I don't think we had implemented before. So yeah, that's just last little bits that I put in to this version.
Great. Julian, may I ask why you were focusing on Node the last couple of months? What was it, a course requirement or just something that you thought you should know?
Oh, last in January, there was a quick little, we call it web lab here, but basically just making a website, right? And I took it upon myself to learn Node because it's actually pretty popular, pretty well used, and pretty straightforward.
Yeah, great. Did you ever make your own personal website? I remember you said over the last summer you were going to make your own personal website.
Yeah, it is kind of kicking around. Let me see here.
Could you send me a link to your personal website if you wouldn't mind? I would love to put it on the team page where we have you featured.
Just put it in the chat right there. You click on it, it's just kind of like you got a lot of buttons, and it'll take you to the games that I made.
Oh, I've seen this before. Right. Okay, but this is live now?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, good. Do you mind if I put this link on your team page?
That's fine.
Great. Okay. All right. Anything else, Alex? My conclusion is full steam ahead on your implementing your recommendation for the back end.
Yeah.
I'll run this by Steve, but I'm assuming he's going to say fine. And the other issue is at some point, especially on planet navigation, we're going to need a graphic designer.
Yes.
Actually, we're going to need a graphic designer to edit the control panel here. So I have someone in mind, but if you have someone you'd like to work with, or Julian, you have someone in mind who could be a part-time graphic designer. All of these graphics were made in PowerPoint. I like that because it's really easy to edit them. But you know, feel free to make a recommendation for someone you'd like to work with. If you, you know, if any of your classmates are into front-end graphic design. Otherwise, I'll ask when. Otherwise, I'll ask when to do this.
Yeah, those are a little hard to come by at MIT, but
yeah, I'm sure I could find somebody, but nobody's coming to mind.
Okay. All right. Unless, all right. So I'll let me know, Alex, when you need graphics done, and I'll relay those to Wen.
And so real quick, there's one more thing I forgot to mention about this implementation here. So there's a thing called the GraphIQL Playground. So if we go to, I currently have it set up to go to the admin route on the front end. So you can actually just, it doesn't have the cookie. But yeah, so you can just come here and you can actually run queries and changes and see what will happen before you put them in the front end so that you know that your actual query is working, which helps a lot with debugging. So yeah, that is that.
I don't see any disadvantages.
Yeah. No, it's a cool technology.
Pretty strong debater you are, Alex. Okay. Great. Full steam ahead.
Yeah.
all right.
All right, Julian, thanks for joining. And if you could send me a short video clip, that'd be great.
No problem.
Alex, I would like to put you on our team page. Did you ever send me I think I sent you a request for a playful picture.
I did send a picture. I don't know that it was playful. It was just,
you did send me the information that we asked when I sent you the job offer letter.
Yes, I did.
Great. Okay, I'll find it. And I'm gonna post you on our team page.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
Good deal. Okay. Thanks for joining, Alex. I love that you took the initiative to recommend this. Full steam ahead.
Yeah. See you next week.
Okay. Great. Have a good week.
Right,
Bye, Julian. Bye, Alex.